Gonna bet on the 49ers or Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, who would you bet?
The Chiefs.
Bam! Already out the gate.
I told you this 2 days ago, and 2 days later, like, I still haven't really assessed the matchup, but still, like, the slower I keep thinking, I'm like, damn, dude, I just don't know how. But it's because of what we just witnessed the 49ers play in the last 2 weeks. It was not 4 quarters of football. It wasn't even 3 quarters of football. It was literally just a half. You can't do that against the Chiefs. Like, what are you guys doing? And especially the way it's like their defense is looking. Like, I understand, like, the one positive is that, okay, cool. Like, of all the three, between the last 3 teams you're going to face, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Lions, like, the Chiefs probably have the worst rushing attack, but it's still a very lethal one that can expose you guys. And I'm pretty sure Andy Reid's going to come up with ways of, like, we're going to take advantage of what the Lions and Packers did and also add our own wrinkle and figure out ways to adjust and then do ways that you can somehow counter to the defense to use Patrick Mahomes' mobility and find open lanes. Like, I think they're just going to keep getting, like, the defense, like, flowing to one end, dump it to Kelsey, flowing to the right end, handoff, like, and then take shots, like, once every, like, 10 plays or something like that. So I'm very concerned about the defensive performance. And if that's the case, then, okay, cool. Like, can they at least get at least a few stops? Enough for maybe the 49ers offense, because the 49ers offense, I think, is going to be the key to this game. Like, is Purdy going to be, like, on it? Is he going to look sluggish the first half and then start to kick it into gear the second half? Can they find success with McCaffrey? Because the Chiefs defense is clicking. They've been really stout this year. You know, like I said before, like, after the game, the difference in the matchups from 4 years ago to the one in a week or so is Chiefs defense is stronger, Chiefs offense is weaker. 49ers offense is stronger, significantly stronger. The defense is weaker. Whereas there's a lot of holes they can take advantage of. And, like, again, I get the Chiefs are weaker offensively, but it's still Mahomes. They still figure it out. I mean, they just faced pretty much a better defense in the Ravens, and they got shut out in the second half. So it's something to see, like, okay, you can ball them up, but what can you do offensively? Like, can the defense actually step up? Can they find their rhythm like they did in the regular season? So that's what concerns me. Like, can you actually find those 3 to 5 stops in the game to limit the damage, especially on drives that are looking promising for the Chiefs, to limit them to field goals, and then maybe, like, your offense can put up like 24 to 28 points, because that might be enough to actually beat them.
That's kind of interesting, because usually when you think Chiefs, I feel like you assume that you'd have to score in the 30s, but you're right. Their last few games where they have looked more dominant have been lower scoring. Now, do you think that this 49ers team is going to be able to contain the run for the Chiefs? Because I feel like the Dan Campbell kind of going away from the run was what stopped the run against the Lions, not any adjustments that the 49ers made. Do you agree with that?
No, the Niners made better adjustments in that second half for sure. And it's the real question is, like, why did they wait until the second half to make those adjustments? That was also confused. It's like, dude, you guys are just running the same damn thing. Like, I'm seeing the structure. Look at these guys. Look at the way they're lining up. And, like, again, I don't want to all beat up on Wilkes, because there was, like, 8 times in that first half where it's like, make the freaking tackle, dude. He's 3 yards down the field already. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, so that's why it's like, I don't want to fully blame Wilkes, but it's like he's definitely getting like 70% of the blame, because structurally, at least like half of those woes or a little more could be negated if you actually know how to defend them better, or just on the fly better, versus just waiting till halftime. That's one thing that I thought always Robert Saleh was amazing of when I was more on hands coming to the 49ers, was he always likes to let his first few drives be more of a blank canvas, meaning we're going to be neutral, very vanilla, let them show their hand, make them think that we're actually weak, then cool, we're going to counter. And then after they realize we've countered a few drives, then we got to wait on their counter and see. So he was always like thinking like steps ahead, where it's like Wilkes is like, I'm just playing my offensive plan for the half, and then we'll adjust when we get there. Like,
yeah, it doesn't seem like he makes in-game adjustment. Like he comes up with the plan before the game and then at halftime. There's nothing like in between. You can like look at something not working, and for some reason he doesn't adjust right then.
That's been all season.
So I'm not saying that's easy to do, but
remember they were getting worked against the Rams the first game, week 2, week 3, whatever, week 2, week 3. They were getting worked against the Rams, and it's like, oh my God, what's this defense? What the hell's going on? Steve Wilkes, what are you doing? And then after the half, they pretty much pitched a shutout, except for that, that one sleazy like last minute score, and they outlawed 6 points in the second half. That's amazing. They have a lot of games where they have pretty much shut out teams and looked amazing in the second half. And it's always like, this guy just waits until halftime. He does. And I wouldn't expect him to change, not unless Shanahan's in his ear saying like, stay vanilla, don't do too much of what you're doing, because there's definitely an element of that. But it's also like, dude, there's still got to be something in your bag that you got to like figure out a way, move a player, do something, because if you don't do that, then Andy Reid and Mahomes are just going to all day just be like, all right, we'll just keep going ahead, taking advantage of this weakness.
Travis Kelce, are you anticipating that he goes off, like that they have a more balanced attack against this defense, or do you think that the Chiefs are going to try to run the ball more, since that seems to be the 49ers' weakness right now?
Yeah, I think they'll try to like test the waters early, running the ball, and then it'll be overall balanced. Like it really is going to stem from like if they seem success, and then they'll end up opening it up. Like I just know, like I'm expecting like the Chiefs to do that a lot. Then play action, get Mahomes on the run, where they shift the play to the left side, swing them to the right, or shift the play to the right side, swing them to the left, and have someone that leak out. So I'm expecting they're going to do all that stuff. Like it's just they're going to have a whole plethora of things of what they're going to attack, and it depends on how the 49ers are going to answer that, and if they can adjust if they're getting beat down like that after a couple of drives.
Do you think offensively, because you said that you think this 49ers offense, obviously I think starting at the quarterback position, is more prepared to win the Super Bowl, but how would you compare it to the 2019 team? I think just skill position wise, there's a huge difference. And with Christian McCaffrey, obviously Raheem Mostert was going off in those the game right before the Super Bowl and in the Super Bowl, but he wasn't even technically the starting running back. So how do you feel offensive position wise, player wise, going in 49ers against the Chiefs defense?
Yeah, they're exponentially better than they were in 2019. Like 10 times, exponentially, significantly, everything you want to use, like better running back, way better quarterback, a little better offensive line, because people forget like what was so bad about that 2019 offensive line with the 49ers was their interior protection, like center and both guards were always getting blown up, and guess who's right there? All pro Chris Jones. So that's going to be huge. Like, can you guys slow him down? Because he was a game wrecker, especially on those final 2 drives for the 49ers offensively. It's a lot more sound for them. So hopefully they can reduce them a lot, especially because of how they've had success with Aaron Donald in the last few years. And then you got Kittle, who's still Kittle. Obviously McCaffrey trumps any running back combined on that 2019. Debo's way better. Ayuk's way better than Bourne, and Sanders. Jennings is better, if not the same as Bourne at the time. So everything's on their
Jennings
side.
is even maybe Bourne with like a step up.
Yeah. So yeah,
especially recently.
Yeah. So it's just, to me, it's just pretty much just like, look, that defense is going to look better than I think the 49ers that people are going to expect, because their defense has been really good. I mean, look, like, I know the Ravens had a dumb game plan against the Chiefs, but, give the Chiefs credit. They were draping all over those guys. But then again, the counterpoint to it is like, yeah, who the hell were they guarding? Like Mark Andrews, who just came off like a broken leg. Isaiah Likely, who's kind of good.
Zay Flowers couldn't stop him. I don't know.
Zay Flowers got his for sure. One of them was a busted coverage. But it's like, how many guys are you going to cover? You're going to cover Ayuk consistently? You're going to cover Debo consistently? You're going to cover George Kittle consistently?
What did you think of that really quick, the Zay Flowers penalty, the taunting one that kind of like, in my opinion, changed the momentum of that game?
That he's dumb for it, because it's like, dude, like, you already know what the league stance is. I think the rule is dumb, but you're dumber for still still doing that. Just like the same thing about like, oh yeah, like pass rusher threw his body weight onto the quarterback mid tackle, and it's like, you mean he tackled him? So yeah, there's a lot of flawed rules, but the rules are the rules. What are we gonna do? We're gonna stop watching? We're gonna protest? Like, nothing's gonna happen. Yeah. So no, he's an idiot for that.
I think that's an interesting thing about this matchup too. Like, going into the Lions game, my assessment was that the 49ers would win, like, prior to the game, because they were more experienced with a more veteran team. I referred to the Draymond Green clip when the Warriors were going against the Celtics the year that they won the championship. He kind of, even though the Celtics were like the hotter, younger team, he was like, we have championship pedigree, and the 49ers haven't won the Super Bowl, but like, they have this, we've been to the playoffs, we've been in this moment already mindset. But now they're actually at the Super Bowl. They're going against a team that, not only have they been to the Super Bowl, but we've been down in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl and known what to do in that moment to come back and win. Do you think any of that will be in the 49ers heads, or do you think no, or Kyle Shanahan's head, or do you think no, that's kind of not a thing that lingers? And obviously some of those players are completely different teams, whatever. Charvarius Ward is on the other side.
Yeah. I don't think that's in their head. I think if anything, when he gets close to it, they'll probably like use that as a little like oomph for the little bit like, look, we were here, like it's time to like for us to get back. It's time for us to win. Show last year, but I think ultimately, yeah, I lean towards majority. Like they're just putting that behind them because if they go chasing ghosts from the past like that, it might deter them of what's at hand or something like that, or maybe it gives them extra like, oh my god, this failed last time too from the last. I don't know. It could be some situation that it just adds extra like things to think about that maybe you just don't want to. Where it's just stick to your assignment, just get the job done, play the best you can. No, don't, because this team again, both teams are very different. They're very different. Like I said, like now it's the 49ers with the better offense, and now it's the Chiefs with the same, if not better defense, maybe at least in the last month.
Are you confident that if the 49ers get a lead in the fourth quarter, do you think that not that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be willing or able to come back, because I think he has maybe that same little bit of magic that we saw from Brock Purdy last game coming back in the fourth quarter, but do you have more or less faith in Kyle Shanahan not, for lack of better words, choking in this Super Bowl than previous ones? And has anything about the last two playoff games where they were more gritty, ugly wins given you more confidence, or maybe even taken that away? How do you feel about Kyle Shanahan going into the Super Bowl right now compared to start this season, let's say?
Yeah, I never blamed Kyle Shanahan for that blown lead in the Super Bowl because there's way more stuff. Like there was drops. There was, like I said, Chris Jones, several batted passes and then wrecking the offensive line, couldn't stay in pass protection for longer than a second and a half. And then Jimmy being Jimmy with like his inaccuracies, missing guys. And like, yeah, it was just bad. Like I didn't really feel like, again, like when I was watching it live, like I didn't feel like it was Kyle Shanahan's fault. It just felt like it was a collective effort. Like, dude, you guys literally plummeted, and you had McCombs going Super Saiyan mode on you guys. So, yeah, I would feel very more comfortable if they had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, especially with 6 minutes left, because you have a better running back. You have a better, maybe not necessarily run blocking.
Shanahan will go away from the run, or do you think he'll actually stick to it? That's kind of been his problem in these Super Bowls, is like losing his mind and not sticking with the run.
No, I'm not worried about Kyle Shanahan. I think I'm not. But they're in the lead, and that's one thing the Niners are showing. When they have a lead, especially a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, they hold on to it. Again, I know like you shouldn't be worried. If anything, that's gonna be the defense's problems, where it's just like, look, let's just make them take paper cut drives, like death by 1,000 paper cuts, which is used to like give them like a 13-play scoring drive, not a 5-play scoring drive where it's like, great, now it's back on us. We barely got arrested, and the clock barely moved. So I think in that case, the 49ers offense is like, it's on you guys to really milk the clock and maybe get a field goal score again, keep piling it, keep that guy on the side of the field. Because what's the best defense sometimes if your defense is not stopping the quarterback? Your offense is your best defense. Keep them on the side of the field. And I think they'll be able to keep the chains rolling because you have McCaffrey, who's better at the time, and you have a way better quarterback who, if the play's not there, he could scramble. We just saw it. We literally just saw it. And matter of fact, we've been seeing it. So I think you have a guy who's a better decision maker, better player, and can actually move and make plays stay alive if they're not there.
So Jimmy G versus Brock Purdy, I agree. Way more faith in Brock Purdy to be able to make some plays now. How do you feel about this offensive line? The Chiefs front four have been getting a lot of pressure. They got Lamar out of the pocket, and then they were able to also run after him multiple times. Now, it did feel like Lamar wasn't as decisive as he sometimes is with his running.
A little bit too much.
Yeah.
A lot too much. Instead of just taking off, which is like.
And we've kind of seen from the previous game that Brock Purdy will take those opportunities, and Kyle Shanahan has obviously instilled his trust in him to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's one thing that's going to be like hard, like for the Chiefs. Again, like, look, all they had to worry about, the best weapon on offense, aside from Lamar, was Zay Flowers, and he like pretty much went off. I know it was more like skewed towards a couple of passes and such, and they kind of made themselves one-dimensional, the Ravens, by calling only 6 runs. That's malpractice to me. So again, they made the Chiefs' defensive job way easier than it needed to be. So again, it's going to be hard for them to account for Purdy scrambling, because it's like, we got to account for McCaffrey, we got to account for Debo, we got to account for I mean, they're not going to account for Juszczyk, but he might be exposed like he was that first time when he scored the first touchdown against the Chiefs. And you got to account for Ayuk. Like, how much can your scheme actually account for all these players? You know, because in the Super Bowl, we saw the 49ers and Robert Saleh do it. That Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce was way better than he was. That's probably not a stronger rushing attack, but it was still there. They had like a capable receivers, right? Versus this one, it's just Rashee Rice and who? Who? I know MVS is there. They have other guys who are okay, but it's like, and it's because you have Mahomes to make them look great. But yeah, I think that's where, again, I'm going to circle back. It's really going to be on this offense to really like get those points in. You know, don't, because having just
I think they will have to play all 4 quarters though. Like I don't think that they can play how they have the last 2 games.
If they play the last 2 games the way that, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose 1,000%.
Because the Chiefs have a better defense than both the Packers and the Lions. And if you consider like the 49ers were supposed to kind of blow out both of the previous teams, this game, it is expected, like the public, it's anticipated to be a close game. So that kind of scares me, because if they've already been performing less than expectations and now the public kind of assumes that they're not going to perform, you know, that much more dominantly. Why, by the way, are the 49ers favored to win the Super Bowl? I don't really get that.
Are they? What are they? -2 now? I think it opened as -2.5, something like that.
Yeah, I saw it when it was 3.5.
Well, that's not even a big. That's like slight favorites. So if it's one thing, if they were like, you know,
why would they be favorites at all? The Chiefs won 11 games, right? The 49ers
because they are
won
kind of
12.
the better team, especially like longevity wise. They are the better team. Like I know, like the Chiefs have the better coach and the better like quarterback. But how many other areas do they have better than the 49ers? Not much. Not much else. You know, Kelsey's not the Kelsey of old. I know he's surging right now, and he's still going to be a threat and be lethal, but he's not like he was 4 years ago, right? Kittle's better right now. They got a better rushing attack. I think that's what it kind of dumbs down to, especially because, like, again, like, you know, the Chiefs didn't score in that second half. So as much as they had like a pretty, like, fairly dominant game, it's like, yeah, I don't think like you're going to get like a stupid game plan like from the 49ers, like the Ravens did offensively. The Niners aren't probably going to shut them out for a half, but it, you know, there is still something to say. Like, again, Steve Wilkes comes out of the second half raring to go. Like, offenses don't go into the second half facing the 49ers and still are dominating. I'm just worried about because if Andy Reid and Mahomes look good against Saleh, and again, no, he didn't actually. They looked good against Saleh for 3.5 quarters. Remember that 3.5 quarters in that Super Bowl. They had a perfect game plan until but you can't expect to hold Mahomes for 4 quarters. The fact you get 3.5 quarters should be amazing. Should be hung up as a gold star in your fridge. Now, last year, D'Amico Ryans, who was better than Saleh, got steamrolled. Right? We all saw that. They got steamrolled at home.
To be fair, the 49ers had like a lot of injuries. I think Ward played, but he was super injured, if you remember, because he wanted to play against his former team. Was Eric Armstead out? That was because wasn't
last year? No, Jimmy Ward. That was his first game back. Javarius Ward was there though.
Javarius Ward.
They were fine. There was no health concerns. There was nothing. Jimmy Garoppolo's the quarterback. There
no
was
way
for that. Yeah, they got steamrolled. They got obliterated. This time now you got a better offense, but a weaker defense and a way weaker defensive coordinator. Is like if he was running circles around Ryan, you're gonna run circles against Steve